welcome to Fastbreak Breakfast, NBA podcast. My name is Keith Parrish here once again with my buddies through the miracle of computer phone. Here with Chuck Anderson.
Hey now!
And with John Burr.
Kudos to me.
Kudos to John. We had a few people who were upset last week with no Chuck Hey Now. We tried to fill in with John saying Hey Now. It wasn't the same energy.
It was a butterfly effect of
magic.
Terror because
Yeah.
I meant to join the show by saying kudos to me last week.
Right.
Thereupon setting off a veritable tidal wave of Dylan Brooks solipsistic shenanigans.
Yeah.
Because I had to say, hey now. We didn't even talk about Dylan Brooks last week, and it got pretty much all saved for the weekly playback, which was still fun.
We did we not? I can't remember which show was which. I feel
Yeah.
like we talked a lot about Dylan Brooks on the show last week, but maybe we didn't.
Well, we should have talked about more because kudos to me is it's a lifestyle brand now. It's how I live my life.
John, I'm almost certain we did this last week. but-
Okay, well,
okay.
just making sure. This is how this look.
It's fine. I
The
can't.
emotions I'm feeling can only be summarized in 3 words, which are on the tip of my tongue at all times now, and those words are kudos to me.
Yeah. If you missed
Kudos to
last
you.
week's show for whatever
You're
reason,
listening to it now.
You're listening to it right now.
Uh-huh.
Dylan
So
Brooks
kudos
had
to
a
you.
quote about a shot selection where he said, "I'm getting better at it. I had 6 assists this last game. Kudos to me."
You don't even need context.
Okay.
It's just one of the greatest things an athlete has ever said. I assume that there were no follow-up questions.
Yeah, I don't. If they were,
That
I
all
don't. I don't
of
even
the
know if there's an
reporters
audio clip.
decided to leave.
I
They
want to
nodded.
Said it's enough.
They
I'm
nodded
done.
affirmatively.
Maybe
Tipped
it's
their caps.
like those pool reporter interviews with NBA officials after controversial calls. I didn't know the specifics of this. Like we see them released and they're always absurd. Like there was a big blown call in some Raptors game. I can't remember which game it was. I think it was the Raptors Bucks game, or when the Raptors came back from like 20 down, Grayson Allen punched somebody in the nuts and it was a flagrant foul and it went to overtime. But there was a big blown call near the end of the game. And the pool report was like, "Hey, what happened with that blown out of bounds call?" And Tony Brothers says, upon review, it should have
Kudos to
been
me.
awarded to the other team. And he should have said kudos to me. But like, what enlightenment have we gotten from this pool report where it's like he just says, yeah, that you're right, that was a missed call.
I often think that like the last 2 minutes are just a way to cover up 46 other minutes of bad officiating. Like sometimes they'll get it right at the end, but the whole rest of the game sucks.
Well, so I found out about these pool report things. They're not actually like interviews. Like you can't have follow-ups because sometimes there's a thing where it's like, well, you gave a weird answer. Then it's like, well, what about the second technical foul where it was even worse? You can't follow up because much like interviewing a famous person, you have to submit the questions in writing beforehand. And then they write their answer and that's it. And like, there's no,
just the guys.
it's not
of
an actual give and
journalism.
take. Also, we
Yeah.
had in that there's a wild, was it Warriors Hawks. I can't remember what we said on the show last week. I can't remember what's reality, what's dream. This is like my daughter who's like, I caught a bird once. It's like, what? She's like, yeah.
Kudos to her.
I ran and chased down a bird and caught it. I'm like, sweetie, you've never done that. She's like, well, maybe it was a dream. Maybe it was a dream. No, there was like blown calls in the final second where like Trae Young got fouled very clearly. The refs missed it. And then it came down and Jordan Poole got fouled very clearly. But on the second Jordan Poole foul, I'm pretty sure the refs were like, man, we kicked that last one. We're just let that one go. And even though the last 2 minute report says, yeah, both calls were blown. Anyways, kudos to us. We're a couple minutes late from our start time that we planned because I couldn't find my trusty podcast light, my streaming light, because last night.
Where did it
Well,
go?
I'll tell you what happened last night, John. No,
some homeschool proctology.
My wife hosted a professional party.
Oh,
And she was grilling. It was taco night. I had to leave. I had to leave with the kids.
You
way
were
to get out of the
informed
house.
to
I think
get
you would have
out
had
of
to
the
leave
house.
regardless.
So I went, is she hiding me from her colleagues? Yes. Have I met any of them? No. Has she had the same job for 15 years? Yes.
Oh.
No, so I took the kids, John, I took the kids to Central Barbecue, Nashville.
Nice.
I'd actually never been before, so I took them over there. But anyways, my wife was grilling. They did taco night for her colleagues. She was grilling some chicken out on the grill. Our deck has no light. It's just pitch black. And
or traction to walk upon.
Oh, it's extremely dangerous.
Your deck is the place that Scarlett Johansson took her victims in Under the Skin.
I've seen John break his coccyx.
No, you should not walk on our deck when it's wet.
No.
But it gets dark at 5 p.m., here or earlier. It was pitch black on her deck, and she's like, she needed a light. I'm like, we'll use this little streaming light. So she used the streaming light apparently to cook last night. So I'm supposed to log on and record with you guys right now. And I'm like, wait, where's the light? I spent a solid 12 minutes. I'm like, my first thought was like, did this woman leave this light outside? And then
I would have never found it.
I found it it was tucked away on stairs where no one could see it, like leaning against a wall. Cause I guess it was just put away. But
that's
I
ladylike.
It was good. I mean,
she quote unquote put it away.
Yeah. I mean, she hid it out of sight, so it couldn't be seen, which is
right.
No one could find it.
Yeah. She'll be very pleased you called her ladylike, John, with your throwback.
I figured girly would get me canceled, so
yeah, I don't think
ladylike it is.
Well, Todd Gurley, the running back.
The running back. Good job, Chuck.
Man, I get NFL references again. I'm back. So,
congratulations, John. The Titans also now fired the offensive coordinator, so you can fully
fired everyone.
Hey, I watched my first Titans game this year. They played the Jacksonville Jaguars. We were in a bar, me and my buddy. Towards the end of the game, I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Jacksonville chant Duval.
Yeah, Duval.
Duval. When you hear Duval, you should immediately leave. Because nothing good has ever happened when people started yelling Duval.
So can you give me the genesis of Duval?
It's Duval County. It's the county.
Duval County.
Oh,
yeah.
I thought it was Robert Duvall laugh.
That was on the Good Place where they had the Jaguars fan character.
Yes, Duval. Yeah. That's so. But trust me, nobody is saying Duval in like a way that wants to bring goodwill towards men.
Jacksonville is one of the most terrifying places on earth, and the fact that the Good Place nailed that
place so nice they named it Jacksonville.
No, here's another. Since we're doing football talk and wife talk, I was also watching that big Titans game, and the Titans had to win to get into the playoffs. They'd lost 6 straight games. They were starting a folk hero from the University of Tennessee.
Go Big Orange.
And apparently this guy is like one of the sweetest people alive. He actually takes care of this. Like, there's this, I don't want to get the story wrong, but it's something to the effect of there's a kid in Knoxville that's been battling cancer that was involved with like my in-laws church. And this guy, Josh Dobbs, hangs out with him constantly. And it's just like, so my wife doesn't care about football. She actually actively hates the NFL, much like Chuck. And she doesn't want us to watch it, but she found out this guy was starting the football game, and she randomly looked up with 3 minutes to go in the game. And I was like, this is a huge play. The Titans were up by 4 with 3 minutes to go. It was like 3rd and 7 or something. I'm like, this is a massive play right here for the Titans. And if you don't know what happened,
stumbling.
The Jaguars scored a defensive touchdown to go into the playoffs, like a game-winning defensive touchdown with 3 minutes left. And I was apoplectic. I was like, the only thing you have to do is not score a TD for the wrong team.
Yeah.
And she was like upset that I was kind of mad at this quarterback guy who was basically, he was just helping out.
Tuck rule.
We were in a pickle.
What happened to the Tuck rule?
We were in a pickle. This guy's like, hey, you know what? Your team is terrible. I'll try to come help you out. It should be like a good Samaritan law where I couldn't prosecute him for trying to help. He was trying to help, but all you had to do, Mr. Aeronautical Engineer or whatever major you were, brilliant man.
The alopecia astronaut.
Just don't score for the other team.
I thought Charlie Villanueva had a resurgence and a new career.
Yeah,
that's right. Anyways, Brett breakfast.
He's no ho Dobbs.
I like that reference. What breakfasts have we had? Chuck, what was your breakfast?
No breakfast today. I'm on a hard fast, trying to hit a 20-hour intermittent fast. No bo. I did have a wonderful breakfast. So I started a new job. I'm working in a residential rehab now, right? And I get to hang out with these dudes who are trying to get better. But the best part of the job is they feed these guys and stuff the fridge with food for them. So I get to make breakfast. They give me money to go cook for myself and maybe other people if they're hungry. So the other day,
now, are you giving these recovering men pounds upon pounds of ground beef?
Yeah, so how much raw ground beef are you
had
serving?
We had a long talk about what their preferences were vis-a-vis 80-20 mixed ground beef, and none of them thought it was a good idea to eat it for breakfast. Weirdly, none of them probably are there for like wonderful reasons, but they all hated my idea. So I
That's right, Chuck. You do have a built-in winning argument. You'd be like, well, you guys are on that side and I'm on this side, so if we want to get into the decision making,
maybe you should carnivore diet.
Yeah. So you want to get to where I am.
So this week, while getting paid and not having to work a kitchen line, I ate eggs, ham, bacon, and a little avocado. Went all keto on the boys, and it was tremendous. But yeah, I'm happy to be able to not have to work in a kitchen and still get to be paid to cook. It's like a wonderful chain of events.
We could probably get you on the YouTube channel. Chuck, if you want to cook, make a little cash, maybe throw some YouTube videos of Chuck cooking some stuff.
Nobody wants to see me anything.
Name it after this is Chuck's Dwayne Bacon. And just name it after NBA players. Let's go. Let's do it. Here's the Amir coffee drink. Anyway, what, John, you had donuts from McGaw's or somewhere else?
Indeed. And they asked if I was, it was kind of, it was a good cover story for me because I ordered 3 donuts for me to eat, all 3. And because they are now familiar with the podcast, they assume that there was a donut for each of us.
Oh, that's cute.
So it covered up my.
Wait, they're familiar with the podcast yet? Are they paying you? Are they giving you? I mean, they have been hooking you up, right? But
they give me like, well, it depends on who's there. I think this lady doesn't have that kind of power. But if it's like one of the owner people, they'll give free donuts, and they've talked to me about doing a show from McGaw's, which is not going to happen.
What's up? Let's do it. I'm down.
I'm sure that you are.
I love
I'm ready to go. I mean, never even been, so might as well.
It's so good, and they're very nice. But so I've got a new standard order. It's usually just 2 donuts, but today I was being fat. But I pair the blueberry glazed donut with the a lemon filled now.
Ooh.
Blueberry plus lemon.
Oh yeah.
And you can go back and forth, Brendan Fraser style, like, oh, blueberry, and then take a bite of the lemon. Oh, lemon, then you can smash them together. You can squeeze a little of the lemon out on the blueberry. I'm not saying I've done this. I'm saying you could do that.
So I'm saying you could also put that on the YouTube. We might just mark it unsafe.
That's
not for children.
What is the like lemon flavor? Are we talking like it's a lemon zest kind of effervescent lemon, or are we talking like this is industrialized chemical lemon?
Yeah, neon yellow lemon.
Yeah. Okay. Hell yeah. Something.
I mean, my understanding of McGaw's is it's not a zest type.
No, so we're not trying to subtly invoke lemon.
For the amount of times you need to go to McGaw's to spend the amount of money you go from that place that you guys go to, I forgot the name of.
East Park.
You need to go to McGaw's.
5 Daughters. Yeah.
Oh, you need to go to McGaw's without exaggeration 5 to 6 times.
Hell yeah.
To even approach a single order.
So
these are salt of the earth donuts and people.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of salt on the donuts and people.
I love that. I can drop 30 at East Park or $5 Daughters and not even really have eaten.
$30 would clear out McGaw's.
That's what we're talking about.
They'd be like, honey, we're closing early.
I think I've talked about this on the show before. It might have been in a dream, but my brother-in-law, who basically makes more money than me, has nicer stuff than me, shamed me for the amount I spend on donuts. He's like, what? He's like,
does he know?
He's like, just go to Donut Den. Everything's 79 cents. I'm like, oh, that's why you have more money, I guess.
Have me there. That's when you say kudos to you.
Kudos to you. I have a lot of leftovers in the house because of this party that was hosted at my house where I wasn't invited. But I think I went so hard last night. I didn't feel like I could touch it yet. There was like leftover cakes and pies, and I love nothing more than a cake and pie breakfast. It's like a donut, but in the shape of a cake or a pie. And I haven't touched it. I'm going to. I think I'm going to have a pecan pie in a little bit when my constitution gets a little more together. Right now, I'm still feeling maybe the after effects of a Central Barbecue. Went pretty hard on their jerk wings and just the standard wet wings. They were kicking. They were hot. Really? I like it. I mean, I like a spice in my on my wings, but it was a lot.
I do think wings are the best menu item at that barbecue restaurant.
And then afterwards, speaking of just lighting money on fire, just spending way too much money, much like the pricey bourgeoisie donuts, or bougie donuts. I went to
bourgeoisie. What was that?
Bourgeoisie.
There we go. All right, I just didn't catch it first. I thought your mouth just fluttered.
We're seizing the means of the production on this podcast.
That's okay, right. Good. I took the kids because I'm trying to buy their love. I took them to the nearest ice cream place, which is of course the most expensive ice cream place in the world, Ginny's. That's another one where my son was like, when will we ever get a cone with 3 scoops? I'm like, boy, that costs $8.
Yeah.
Like no,
those are free trade beans.
Yeah. I'm like, we're sticking with the $4 kid single scoop, which is still just way too much. But the combination of barbecue and ice cream and then the morning's coffee, I'm not quite ready for my pumpkin or my pecan pie yet, but I hope to be very, very soon. Anyway, so those were our breakfast. After our breakfast, we move to our breakfast in bed apologies. And also in a little bit, we're going to kind of break form a little bit and select some all-stars. We're going to try to pick the all-stars. We'll do that just after this little apology segment, just so you know. So don't turn it off now that, of course, the good part of the show's over. What things would you like to make right that you got wrong in a previous show? John, what do you need to make your breakfast in bed?
Last week, I made much ado about Naz Reid, I thought, singling out Rudy Gobert as the sorry, not sorry, secret, not secret problem child in the Timberwolves locker room. I have since been alerted that he was not even talking about Rudy Gobert and was in fact talking about D'Angelo Russell, which I guess I should have realized. Watch those games. Rudy is at least trying. He seems somewhat incompetent at times, but D'Angelo Russell is a player that is clearly loathed on his own team, particularly by his own coach.
I mean, Rudy Gobert also will have like a ridiculous Wilt stat line. Yes. Get like 25 rebounds. I'm confused by Rudy.
D'Angelo Russell will sometimes
Rudy's
have
been
like
dominating
Mike
the last few
Conley in
games.
his prime stat lines, sir.
Yeah.
Former almost all-star Mike Conley type stat lines, so without the defensive stats.
we blamed Rudy, and it turns out most people, the accepted version of events is that they were maybe calling out D'Angelo Russell. So again, I don't have hard facts on any of this stuff.
No, neither do I.
But people have.
Well, then you shouldn't correct me because I just assume you were right and I'm wrong.
I'm just telling you what gets passed along to me, and then we regurgitate it on air, and that's how the NBA narratives get passed around.
How the
Chuck,
pause.
You got anything you want to make?
Yeah.
Right?
So my last show that I was here, we had a tremendous brainstorming session where we tried to classify and name the event, the Malice at the Palace 2, which was, the wonderful Killian Hayes flying Death elbow.
The Rumble teaser at the Little Caesar.
Rumble teaser at the Little Caesars. I want to thank Steak Tips Burgundy, Brandon Connor, aka Big Pun, aka the man with the plan. He came in with I think the best one. You know, it's Little Caesars. So instead of pizza, it should have been Pizza Beat Ya. And that's the best one, and we missed it, and I'm sorry. That's my job to put together silly puzzles like that on this show. And I failed. So thank you, Brandon. Brandon
is very talented at puns, but that one sucks, Chuck. It sucks.
Oh man, are you out of here? Pizza
terrible.
If you do it in the voice of the Little Caesars pizza guy, pizza beat ya. It's great. You guys are out of your mind.
I think the task was impossible, unfortunately.
It was.
I used a made up I made a made up reference to cats. I guess we should T.S. Eliot gets the credit for the name, but yeah, I don't know. An impossible task. We'll keep brainstorming. Keep trying, Brandon. I've seen your work and it's usually good. I
disagree.
I can't
think
sign
you
up on that
crushed
one.
it. You knocked it out of the park.
My apology. I'm surprised no one corrected this in our Slack channel. Fact check fact. John, you were asking because you fell off the wagon drinking diet soda, and you were asking how much is a Route 44. Like you had 2 of them. 88 ounces to freedom.
Liter of cola.
You were like, how much is that 2 liters? And I'm like, I don't know. How much is 2 liters? Like 100 ounces? Not even close. 2 liters is about 68 ounces. So you cleared that 2 liters of diet Coke easily, like 20%, 30% over. Honestly, and I was blown away.
Chuck, clear a bunk for me in your joint, brother.
A liter in the quart are
coming in.
The same thing. How long have a liter in the quart been about the same? This blew my mind.
The first step is admitting you have a problem.
How many stones of Sonic Diet Dr. Pepper am I drinking?
Kidney stones? Probably a few.
Not good, guys.
I'm blaming me not knowing that a liter and a quart are essentially the same amount of volume.
Why do we need to know that?
I'm blaming that on public education. And and I'm a little because like the metric system, we keep it at arm's length. But I gotta say, one thing about having a kid in 2nd grade and a kid in kindergarten now that's blown my mind. Living in a red state where the state education board makes some decisions, and I don't usually agree with them. I don't understand how, despite that, my son only talks about things using centimeters and millimeters. What kind of rebellion is happening at this elementary school that my kids are going to where they're teaching them only metric system? Like, is that statewide? I thought we were inches and feet or nothing.
I think the war on Christmas has been extended.
It's
just the war.
He's going to start talking about socialized medicine. I see this is slippery.
He was just like, he said something like, that's about like
free healthcare.
Look at this stick. It's like 20 centimeters. And I was like, what? Who taught you that?
You should write a note.
I should. I don't think our state lawmakers know about it. If they do, they will pass a law about it. Anyways, those were our apologies. Before we get to our picking of the All-Stars, about a month away from the All-Star game, got to tell you a word from our sponsor, the Memphis Grizzlies. All Grizz all the time. Stay connected and follow at MemGrizz and at Grind City Media across all social channels, including Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram for breaking news, one-of-a-kind content, and all the perspectives you won't find anywhere else. All right, fellas. Now, before we get to our steak and eggs best thing, we going to break format. And we're going to try to pick who we think, as of Tuesday, January 10th, who should be in the All-Star game this season. We're doing this now because sometimes we skip it. I've done it with guests recently the past couple years. John
upsets me.
Very upset about it. And so we deserve to do this together. And you're absolutely right. And so we're going to try to...
We reserve the right to cut this out of the show if it sucks, right? Because Okay, we should agree on that.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if you've listened to an episode recently, but we actually record for about 3 hours and they come out 42 minutes. So there's a lot
mean
on the cutting room floor. We're going to try
the YouTube show looks like Max Headroom footage.
We're going to stick to the rules that the NBA gives us, where the public / the media and fans, they put it in a blender and it comes out with the starters, but like the starters are kind of almost
correct.
Set. And then we're going to have to pick 7 reserves. There is some leeway apparently now. It doesn't have to be exactly 2 guards, 3 forwards, and 2 wild cards. So we have some leeway there, but we're going to try to pick what we think should happen using the limitation that we have to have 5 starters named by basically the public. Anything else you want to say as ground rules before you guys start, or any?
I did rank my reserves.
Oh, you got to.
Okay.
That's how I feel about it. So we'll start in the Eastern Conference, and the way the fan vote is currently, that I think will probably stay, because I don't think the media and players are gonna be able to overcome the 50% fan vote. It looks like the Eastern Conference starters are going to be Kyrie Irving, Donovan Mitchell, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Joel Embiid, Kevin Durant. That looks good to me. Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't.
Yeah.
So
I feel like considering how they do the front court and back court, that seems correct.
Yeah. Jason Tatum, obviously the guy getting screwed here.
Right.
But so we're all gonna have those 5. We're all gonna have Jason Tatum as a reserve.
So
I'm just assuming. I didn't check with you guys, but we're not trying to be controversial here.
No.
That leaves 6 players, 6 spots. Chuck.
Oh no, I did 7.
Well, I mean, I'm saying
Tatum. Okay,
we've already used
Tatum,
6.
Tatum.
We have the 5 starters plus Tatum at 6. There are 6 spots left.
I could have sworn there were 7 reserves.
Do you want to go? You want to go first or second?
I'll go first, and I want to go. I think I want to be controversial. Okay. Give me Kyle Kuzma, baby. Put Kyle Kuzma on my all-star team just because it's hilarious.
Are you doing it? Chuck?
Okay. It'll make Lakers.
You could at least gone Porzingis.
Well, look, Kuzma doesn't suck, and he's got some votes, and he's playing as good as he could play. But no, for real, give me Jimmy Butler. Yep. Even though he doesn't play many games,
he still makes it.
Plays enough.
He still makes it.
I got Jimmy Butler in. Yeah.
James Harden. I would like to see Tyrese Halliburton in.
I think he's a shoe in.
Yeah, and I don't know. Trae Young has to be in.
Yeah.
Even though, like, maybe how many?
I don't have Trae Young on mine.
No,
I have Trae Young on mine begrudgingly.
Siakam.
I have Siakam.
I have Siakam.
Then Jaylen Brown.
This is going to be a rough one, guys. I think Chuck and I have the same ones.
And then give me, I don't know.
So right now,
honestly, Kyle Kuzma. Why not? I think it's hilarious.
You're taking Kyle Kuzma over Bam Adebayo, your boy?
Oh wow, Bam. Never mind. Forgive me. He's having the best year I've ever seen Bam.
I have 6 of Chuck's 7.
So let's say so to recap, because Chuck threw some names out there. To recap, you have as your 7 reserves Jason Tatum, and then Halliburton, James Harden, Jimmy Butler, Pascal Siakam, Jaylen Brown, and Bam Adebayo.
Yep, that's me.
He actually had 8 because he said Trae Young, so we got to cut.
Oh, and Trae Young.
If I got to cut one, it'll be I'm gonna punish Trae Young. Even I don't know, but also I don't know. That works. No Trae.
All right, John, how are you different?
I'm pretty much the same. I have Tatum. I went in order. I have Tate, and you're gonna excoriate me for my last one, but I'm ready to argue. I think.
Yeah.
Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Jimmy Butler, Trae Young, Pascal Siakam, Tyrese Halliburton, Jalen Brunson.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
I just feel like, for me, a lot of times these all-star selections are kind of story driven in my head, and I just can't work myself around the transformation that Brunson has brought to the Knicks in one way or another. I know you could very easily say that Julius Randle has the better statistics this year on his own team, but just look at what Julius Randle was doing before Brunson showed up, and I think that kind of illuminates the transformative nature. To me, a guy like Halliburton and Brunson have similar cases. Halliburton's is stronger statistically. Brunson's is stronger when I watch them play. And then the other guys, it's just, I guess you could argue that Trae Young's efficiency is bad enough to knock him off, but I don't think so, considering that it's been pretty good since December started. So that really leaves you with just a couple of months of bad shooting to take away one of the top scorers and assist guys in the league. It's just I'm on board the whole story of Trae being problematic this year and maybe killing his own coach and perhaps team's chances this year, but I just can't at this point. I'm not ready to strike him. And then Harden is like a version of Trae Young where the stats are further down. They're like down across the board. So for me, I was able to apply the practice I wanted to apply to Trae Young and knock him off that I couldn't quite get there. I did apply it to James Harden. I was able to find a way to cut one of them. I would have liked to have cut both. I would have liked to included some other guys, but pretty boring. I can't believe I only have one Cav. As much as I love Garland and some of the other Cavs, it was hard for me. But that's where I ended up. I really wanted to do something crafty and get Brook Lopez on there just because I think he's having just an unbelievable season defensively and one of the more impactful players I see from week to week, but I couldn't get there.
So to recap, I want to make sure I got it right.
Yeah.
You have as your reserves Jason Tatum, Tyrese Halliburton, Jimmy Butler, Pascal Siakam, Jaylen Brown, Jalen Brunson, and Trae Young.
Yeah.
So I guess some of your bigger Harden not making it. Bam Adebayo not making it.
Bam probably should be on there, but I just couldn't get there. The Heat to me are not nearly as good as they should be, and I'm not going to give them 2 All-Stars. So that's just where it ended up.
So the ones I didn't struggle with are oh wait, I have one much higher that you guys didn't even mention. I'm just now realizing.
Oh.
That would be DeMar DeRozan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was like close on mine.
I'm a big DeMar DeRozan guy. And
he's awesome.
He's amazing.
He's really great.
And I definitely could, because he's the most important player on the Bulls team. And
certainly
with that combined with how just, good he is, that I have to put him on. I feel like so
I was ready to come at this.
Yeah.
Because I have seen multiple games this year where he's just picked apart on defense.
Yeah,
he is a lot.
And it's like, good Lord, you can't even play this guy. And that really was my thing. I know you could say the same thing about Trae Young, but Trae Young averages 30. He had
a thing. Here's an anecdote of how bad you could find little clips of DeRozan. DeRozan playing the Jazz recently, having a big statistical game, but I know this was an outlier game for your boy Agbaji on the Jazz.
7 for 7.
But like beyond the 3-pointers that he's not always going to make, Agbaji just drove right at DeRozan for an and one, and it looked like DeRozan was like, "Oh, I didn't think you would try me," sort of thing. He just drove right at his strong hand, made an and one layup because DeRozan just basically let him do it. Like he provided no resistance whatsoever. It's like the guys I play in pickup where if I post up, they just give up. Oh, I don't want to post up.
Yeah, sure.
He's like, I'm just,
exhausting.
I'm gonna let this bearded guy just make this layup because I don't want to touch him.
Right.
And so I think that's fair. If that's a reason to keep him off. For me, I still got to put him on there. I also fall back to, I guess, my own personal thing. I do weigh in the entertainment value. This is not for me, and in like a
well, that doesn't make sense.
This is going to punish some people. This is going to punish some people maybe more in the Western Conference when we get there.
It should punish people like DeMar DeRozan.
I factor, the heaviest thing I'm weighing is how good your season is. But I also am including, one, how famous you are. Two, how good are your highlights? Three, how good has your career been to this point? I think those things matter. Like, I think those things matter. For again, I don't know the exact formula in my brain. I haven't spelled it out. So this is not a 50% fan vote, 25 this, 25 that. I don't know. It's an art. It's not a science for me.
Yes.
But, all right, so obviously Tatum's in. I had to put Jimmy Butler and Pascal Siakam in. And then I felt most comfortable putting DeMar DeRozan in, and that left me with 2 spots. And the players, the 3 players I'm most considering for these 2 spots are Jaylen Brown, Bam Adebayo, and James Harden. I felt a little easier about excluding Trae Young. I don't know if that's fair.
Did you exclude Halliburton just because it's one of those like?
No, I have Halliburton on there.
Okay, I didn't hear you say that. I'm
sorry. Tatum, Halliburton, DeRozan, Jimmy Butler, Pascal Siakam. Those 5 I felt strong about. And then the 3 guys I'm picking between, where I've already crossed off Trae Young, I'm picking between Jaylen Brown, Bam Adebayo, and James Harden. And I basically used another kind of arbitrary thing where I'm like, James Harden has played way fewer games. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if he's demonstrably better than Jaylen Brown or Bam Adebayo. And this is where I don't know. It seems weird to leave those guys off, but I right now have written in Jaylen Brown and Bam and left off James Harden, Trae Young, and your Brook Lopez's and your Knicks and so on and so forth.
I feel like you can make the argument that James Harden is messing up what the Sixers want to do. And is that an all-star?
I don't know. I don't know.
When I watch the Sixers, it's like this kind of like when Harden's not out there, I see an offense. And then when Harden's out there, it just kind of goes to one of his your turn, my turn type scenarios, and it looks bad. And but his statistics are undeniable. At least when I watch Trae Young and the Hawks, he's still, like it's more of a playmaking assist as opposed to the James Harden assist that we've grown very used to. I don't know. For me, and I know, this is a guy who should have won MVPs and has been a dominant player, but he's honestly slipped out of all-star range to me. I think if you're even using our old school metric of is that guy an all-star?
Yeah.
I don't think so anymore.
Yeah.
I think James Harden's not an all-star.
I think that's for me, that's a little bit bold, but also I hear what you're saying. I have been watching obviously more Sixers games this year than ever.
He's not the same guy.
And do I if I were to rank my tiers of how enjoyable the Sixers are to watch, which one? Put these in order.
I'm here for the Melton game.
Yeah, put these in order. Just Embiid, just Harden, or neither. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I think initially I was like, I love it when James Harden doesn't play. But then I've realized I actually enjoy it more when Joel Embiid doesn't play. And again, I'm not a Sixers fan. I'm watching for purely selfish purposes. I'm watching for D'Anthony Melton stuff. And I really liked it when it was Maxey, Harden, and Melton. And I was like, this rules. And there's no Embiid catching the ball all the time. You are right, where I don't know what makes the Sixers the best. I think it's going to be having Harden and Embiid and doing that slow down stuff. Is it as fun to watch in the regular season? No, it's definitely not. And again, I left Harden off. But I think my excuse was I considered Trae Young and James Harden to be pretty similar, and also Jaylen Brown and Bam Adebayo. They're all very, very good, and it felt so arbitrary trying to pick between them.
It was weird. I would have left Trae Young off, but I felt a nagging thing of like I'm letting this Bill Simmons verse get to me too much about this Trae Young.
Maybe
thing.
so.
And, I mean, he's not sure. Is he having a shooting slump? Sure, but like I said, I went and looked at the numbers, and like December on, he's kind of returning to form as far as shooting. And so really we're talking about just a couple of months. That's just not enough to ding a guy who I think was probably going to be an all-star starter most of his career.
Yeah. I will say that there are, I would say, like 10 really, really strong options for reserves in the East. Like we haven't even mentioned Jared Allen. Jared Allen, been an all-star. He's awesome.
I went and stared at his stats as well, and I was like, I would pick Garland over Allen. And I know Garland hasn't played enough games, but like, I just had a hard time going to the third Cav.
We were also. I
went roster by roster was kind of how I was doing it, and like that makes it a little harder.
We were like last year.
DeJounte Murray, we're not getting to do. He's had a great year.
DeJounte Murray's been great. I was going to say last year we were positive that going forward, Evan Mobley was going to be like the most likely
and
all-star from the Cavs. And again, that's
not a leap.
That's a good lesson to slow down on your rookies.
Yeah. I mean, all you got to say about rookies is like, I'm having my best iShop year ever. And that's our negative fantasy league, by the way, folks. And by the way, the reason Tyrese Halliburton makes my all-star team hands down is he's made it so that I've had to drop iShop legend Buddy Hield from my negative fantasy team. He's making Buddy Hield a positive player, but I just have rookies. I just have rookies on my iShop, and I think this is a strong strategy. I'm sorry to give up the ghost and tell everybody, but just draft rookies. They're not very good. It's hard to be a good rookie in this league.
So to recap, we're dealing with the starters being Kyrie, Donovan Mitchell, Giannis, Embiid, and Durant.
If we want to canonize this and have a 7 that we can agree on, I will strike my Brunson and Trae Youngs if you guys want.
Well, I don't think we have to agree. I think we all have Halliburton, Tatum, Jimmy Butler, Pascal Siakam, and Jaylen Brown.
Yeah.
For my other 2 spots, I did DeRozan and Adebayo. For Chuck's other 2 spots, you did Trae? You did Trae and Adebayo. No, you did Harden and Adebayo and kicked off
Harden
Trae.
And Adebayo.
You kicked off Trae.
And John, you did Brunson and
my Brunson's probably indefensible.
You did Brunson and Trae and kicked off Harden and Adebayo. Is that right?
Yeah, my last 2 selections are Halliburton and Brunson.
Yeah. I don't think there's a right answer.
Yeah.
I think everyone's going to have their own lived experience on this. There are definitely blind spots. There, like the teams that are the blind spots for me this year that I don't watch the most of. Like, in the East, I've picked 2 all-stars off of this team, and it's the Heat. Chuck, it's your Heat. I haven't watched the Heat that much this year, but in my mind,
it's hellacious.
I'm like Jimmy Butler's awesome, and Bam Adebayo's awesome, and Jimmy Butler got snubbed last year. So like for the weird not enough games thing. And so
I think Bam's finally like turned the corner as far as like a guy you can count on.
If you were to go by Bam's last 2 weeks, my God. I mean, he's averaging like 30 points a game, right?
Yeah, he's insane. And he's absolutely a maniac on defense.
Yeah.
Like all the stuff, Miami's defense is still a top 10 defense, and they can do great things only because of that guy.
I feel bad. I shouldn't have Jalen Brunson. It should probably be Adebayo.
Well, I was like, if the Knicks fans can't vote on Jalen Brunson, it's not my problem.
The Knicks have one more win than the Heat. There you have it.
And also apologies to LaMelo Ball. Sorry, buddy. You would be fun, but Paolo Banchero? Drew Holiday, who we picked as being maybe the best player ever to only make 1 All-Star game.
But we rightfully said that he's probably stuck there.
Yeah, he's probably stuck there. Miles Turner having an amazing season. Anyways, let's go to the Western
Their defense is bad.
The Western Conference, bad news for us Grizzlies fans. John Morant not going to get voted in this year. Steph and Luka are going to win the
Can I do the Western starters?
Vote.
It's
Please.
LeBron,
Yeah.
Curry, Andrew Wiggins, Jordan Poole, and Jonathan Kuminga, I think, are who the fans
thank goodness Jordan Poole is shooting 26% in his last 15 games. With the one outlier being the Grizzlies game on Christmas.
You forgot Austin Reeves.
Reeves in the top 10 of votes. If Knicks fans can get Derrick Rose in the top 10 of guard votes, why aren't they voting for Jalen Brunson? Anyways,
and mate, I will knock over my king now.
The Western Conference starters, it's going to be Steph, Luka, LeBron, and Jokic, and this is close right now. AD is currently leading. It's going to be AD or Zion. For my All-Star,
way.
for my All-Star game, I kind of hope it's Zion because it makes my reserves easier. But let's go with what it currently is.
It's not. He's not overtaking the Laker.
I mean, he's not even playing. He's not even playing. Although Zion's also on the shelf. So we got Steph, Luka, LeBron, AD, and Jokic. We got to pick 7 more. Jon, who are your All-Star reserves in the Western Conference?
In order of import: Ja Morant, Zion Williamson, Dame Lillard, Devin Booker, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Paul George, and I might get excoriated again, Draymond Green.
I just threw up a little bit.
Sorry.
On the last one. Draymond Green carrying a below 500 Warriors team.
Carrying.
All right, that's wild.
I mean, that team's really bad.
Here's some bad news. Well, here's a couple bits of bad news. One, I picked 6 of the same 7.
Oh.
More bad news. If you didn't name white guy heroes Lauri Markkanen and Domantas Sabonis to the All-Star game, I'm worried they're not going to make it.
Yeah.
I mean, so we've all watched a good number of Jazz games, right? And I know he has a 50-point game. Like, the offense doesn't even run around Lauri Markkanen. Like, he's just like he's just a very efficient player. He's just a very efficient scorer. He's not an all-star. I can't do it. And then, like,
they are hosting the All-Star game. It's in Utah.
Yes.
I just don't think so. Like, he's not even close for me. You know, like, I have Sabonis ahead of Markkanen. But Sabonis is another guy. It's like
I do too.
It's like the DeRozan thing where it's just like he's too terrible at certain elements of the game. And then even the elements that, like, he's supposed to be unstoppable at, a guy like Steven Adams can just take him out of it. Like, you know, I know he has the best rebounding rate, most rebounds, but I don't think of Sabonis as like the best rebounder in the league. Or I think the Kings story is a team story. I don't think it's a Domantas Sabonis story.
Right. I think if you had
a beam team,
if you had to take away one player, or like
I don't
know who's more important to the team, Sabonis or Fox. So that makes it hard for me.
To me, it's not even either of those guys. Like, if it's a congealing of all those guys, you know, like it's the Davion Mitchell. It's the fact that they have flamethrowers at every position. It's not an all-star thing.
If I look at the Western Conference reserves, I think there are some that are unassailable. And I think you have to have Shai, you have to have Ja, and I think you have to have Devin Booker. Are there any others that, like, you absolutely have? Like, is Paul George
Dame
a necessary?
Dame.
I have Dame on mine, but I'm struggling with it.
Why?
I think he's an all-star.
Because
Dame Lillard's like
he's awesome,
6th place MVP.
And maybe I'm too swayed by the fact that they lose all their road games. But like,
and he's also missed a lot of games too, which I think you could ding him for.
So
But when he plays, they are awesome.
I'm not going to. When he plays, they're like the 7th best team,
dude.
Just like,
they have played every game on the road. The Blazers are much better than you think they are.
Yeah, which might be true. Well, again, how good do I think they are? I think they're about the 7th or 8th best team. I mean, I don't think they're better than the Warriors.
Yeah, you're really high on the Warriors, even though you dinged.
I believe in them. Well, I mean, I mean, well, they got a couple All-Stars with Draymond Green and Steph Curry. No, so I do have Lillard on mine, but again, I was more like, maybe I'm punishing him too much for the team not being as elite.
Having the worst bench in the entire league, despite us thinking it would be a strength.
Yeah.
Had a game last week where they had 3 bench points, 3/4 of the way in.
I think for me, I have Sabonis and Lillard very, very close. Chuck, what do you where are you at on the All-Star reserves? You got Morant and Shai and Zion and Booker and also Paul George, maybe?
Yeah. I think that works for me, but I kind of like Lauri Markkanen, and I think it's once again a hilarious event if he makes an All-Star team, only because of he was traded as kind of a second thought.
Flotsam and jetsam.
He was the guy that they got rid of, and it feels incredible that's a possibility. It might not happen, but just that fact alone. But yeah, I'm in line with the rest of them. I like Lillard. I like Shea and Ja, obviously, and Zion if AD's in the starting lineup. But Paul George kind of feels right. But that's about it as far as guys that I'm like, yeah, that's for sure all-star. But
you're capping your team at 10. I love it.
I think that's the only players I'm like, yeah, those are for sure all-stars. Yeah. Everybody else is like, I guess you can be an all-star if you want. Like, the Draymond thing was wild until I looked at it, and I'm like, all right, like he's a big name and he's fun, and
so I would like good guys I would put in over Larry Markkinen. I'd put Anthony Edwards in over Larry Markkinen on the sorry balls Timberwolves.
I had a lot of trouble dealing with Anthony Edwards on this one.
I love Ant Edwards.
He's awesome.
He's so great.
He's so good.
Yeah. Can I take a Russell Westbrook seriously?
No.
I would put Boner in over Larry Markkinen.
Yeah, well, I don't
know. Then I would put in Larry Markkinen.
I like the chaos, and I think, Sabonis there.
We have Larry Markkinen might be our new most hilarious one-time all-star answer soon.
I don't know. I think he's good. I think he's just like a scorer, and he's going to score a bunch of points for a long time.
Someone has to score points.
Yeah,
you are correct.
Someone has to score points.
And I think Larry Markkinen is in a position on the Utah Jazz, and maybe only on the Utah Jazz, to do this.
Here,
and it could be a very funny trivia answer down the line many years from now.
Have you committed to a because you have Morant and Shea and Zion and Paul George, and I believe you also said Devin Booker and Damian Lillard?
Yeah,
he did.
How many?
So you have one more. You have one more spot left for a Sabonis or an Anthony Edwards or a Larry Markkinen or an Aaron Gordon or a Draymond or whatever.
Nah, give me. Whatever. Give me Klay Thompson.
Oh God!
Give me whatever.
I threw up on my microphone for the second time.
It's fine. I love big names. That's what I want my all-star game to be about. I don't want
somebody has to score, Chuck.
Somebody has to score.
He scores. He's 20 points per game. Not great splits, but
it's a great
multiple 50-point games though. Great story. Yeah.
I mean, I think that that matters. And
I didn't think I could be more sickened than my own Draymond Green selection, but I will at least say Draymond Green's having one of the best defensive seasons I've ever seen.
I don't know. I think names matter for the All-Star game.
Names do matter. I agree with you 100%.
And legacy matters, and
legacy matters less for me, but it does matter. It still matters.
So, but
I mean, the Warriors are 20 really and 20.
Yeah.
20 and 20.
So are the Heat.
Yeah, I mean, all of the teams are 20 and 20.
It's so many of the great.
Here's a philosophical question.
From the Lakers to the Kings, I think it's 20 and 20. It's just some iteration of it.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to after sounding some of these things out, I think I'm going to do an audible for my last spot. But here's a philosophical question I want to ask you guys about picking an all-star game. Which is better in a vacuum? Which is better for selecting an all-star? A guy who averages 22 points per game and his team is 17 and 20 when he plays? Or a guy who averages 22 points per game and his team is 15 and 5 when he plays? One guy played 37 games. The other guy played 20 games. One guy wins 75% of his games. The other guy's under 500.
I still don't know if that's meaningful enough set of statistics for me.
You could obviously use a lot more context.
Yeah, that just seems arbitrary.
Well, I mean,
I think
it's one sense arbitrary. It's in another sense an actual real world scenario.
Right. I think if you put the gun to the head, I will. I obviously take the latter.
Yeah. Because here's where I'm struggling, and this is where I'm getting my homer points. There are there are a lot of guys like Larry Markkinen, like Jeremy Grant, dudes who are scoring a bunch of points and their teams are bleh. And then
Jeremy Grant, who the Ringer had one spot ahead of Jaren Jackson Jr. in the 100 best NBA players.
They have Jeremy Grant as the 40th best player in the NBA.
Yes.
I am not convinced, and I know, cover your ears, John. I'm pretty sure Jeremy Grant and Dillon Brooks have basically the exact same effect on winning, but who knows? The basketball index people, they had him at the same grade. I threw those two out. They looked it up. They're like, oh, we have him graded exactly the same as impact on winning. I was looking at like Desmond Bane's case, who I had like basically like 25th in my list when I did my list. But then I'm like, the Grizzlies are 15-5 when Desmond Bane plays, and he averages 22 points per game, but he's not even getting considered. And even me, a Grizzlies guy, had him really low on the list. But
see, I couldn't do the Bane train because I am Jaren Jackson Jr. All-Star guy. So I couldn't have three.
that's my guy. Yeah. I have Morant, Shea, Zion, Paul George, Devin Booker, Damian Lillard, and Jaren Jackson Jr.
Yeah.
And it's 100% colored by the fact that I watched these other guys play the Grizzlies. And I am not watching as many Portland Trailblazers games. But then when I see like whoever, or if I'm not watching as many Jazz games, but when I see Larry Markkinen come in here and I'm like, oh, well, Jaren's way better than you are. And then I see Domantas Sabonis come in here and I'm like, oh, Steven Adams and Jaren Jackson Jr. Look better than you. It colors me. Jaren right now has this historic thing. His numbers are not overwhelming, 17 points per game, but like 3.5 blocks per game?
5 blocks per game.
That's nuts.
He's godlike.
He spotted.
if we had done a regular show, he would have been my best of the week.
He spotted the entire NBA 14 games, and he's already caught them for blocks. He's third in the NBA in total blocks. And like everyone else in the top 5, top 10 has played 10 to 15 more games than him.
No one has taken a dump on Jaren Jackson Jr. like Danny and Nate from Dunked On. And they are talking about him in his limited games being defensive player of the year.
Right.
You know,
like he's probably the favorite for defensive player of the year.
He's going to have to get hurt to not win it.
The numbers, like there was a brief moment 2 games ago where the opposing teams were shooting 39.9% when Jaren Jackson Jr. was on the court. That's nasty. Outrageous.
And this isn't a Miles Turner empty blocks thing where the Pacers are actually very easy to score on and have bad defense.
No,
when Jaren's on the floor, the Grizzlies are unstoppable.
Well, the Grizzlies have the best defense in the NBA, period. Yeah. But all like as far as defensive rating, but when Jaren's on the court, it's absurd.
Yeah.
He has all these 5 block 3 steal games, all these stats brought to you courtesy of Grits and Grinds and Memphis Grizzlies podcast. There's been 4 games this year where players had at least 5 blocks and 3 steals. Jaren has 3 of them. So it's like, and also, by the way, the Grizzlies are really, really good.
Okay. So since you're doing this, am I allowed to now do the right thing and excise Draymond Green and slide Jaren in there?
Yeah, baby. Of course.
All right. It's done. No Draymond.
Get Jaren out of there. No, but but even with all that said, I have a hard time being like, is it Jaren over Anthony Edwards? Because Anthony Edwards rules, and he's the best player on the Timberwolves.
So to me, if Jaren just plays more games, this isn't a conversation. Like he's a very easy all-star to me.
That's kind of where I keep thinking. But even if he ends up even if he played the same number of games, one of the things in my head that holds me back from doing like a Jaren Jackson Jr.
But this West thing is disgusting. Like this list is disgusting.
I agree. It's kind of hard and not fun.
I mean, it's set hard. To me. It's set in stone. You got one spot we're playing with.
Yeah.
So that's where I came to started considering like, well, maybe I'm not putting Lillard in, despite the fact that he's been awesome, or maybe I'm not going to put in like Paul George. Where
Paul George is my 6th guy.
Paul George is awesome.
Yep.
I mean, right now I feel very colored by the fact that I think they've lost 6 straight. So I'm like, I guess it's Paul George. I don't,
Well, he's not playing.
Yeah, it's just difficult. If Zion wins the vote,
Oh,
now AD, by the way, he's the guy with the other 5 block 3 steal game. AD has been amazing.
So check it out. Like if LeBron isn't voted into the starter, LeBron falls all the way to 6 on my vote.
Oh, I hadn't considered that because he's going to be voted in.
Yeah,
LeBron has too much legacy. He would have to be. Yeah,
I still have him.
He'd have to be actively hurt for me not to.
He's put him especially in. He's kind of putting the gas on too close to vote time. Scoring. Talking about scoring 40 points a game. That's just math. Kudos to him.
Kudos to him.
Yeah,
I mean, the West is impossible. Like, we had a good time in the East. The West, it's like locked in. We have a little bit of fun with this 7th spot.
Yeah, I think,
and we're going double grid. Sorry,
I think this exercise is. It's important that it spells out that. I mean, I guess you could out there come up with a list where you crossed off one of Ja Morant, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Zion Williamson, Paul George, Devin Booker, or Damian Lillard, but you're probably not going to. Those 6 are probably in. Yeah. And then you have one more spot for everybody else. Anthony Edwards, Domantas Sabonis, Lowry Markkanen, Draymond, Clay.
It's hard.
De'Aaron Fox. Am I missing anybody? Usman Garuba. Chris Paul. I mean,
no.
CJ McCollum.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, CJ McCollum.
Wow.
Jonas. Kawhi.
No.
Yeah. I mean, Kawhi's return. It is. I mean, Aaron Gordon, I think, has a similar case. If you're going to pick the second
Aaron
best
Gordon,
player
we're going to get to him
on the Nuggets.
In our croissant questionnaire, like, unbelievable.
Like, he's been great, and the Nuggets keep on winning. If we want to do I don't know. It's hard. I think the homer picking me wants to do Jaren Jackson Jr. Although the more I think about it, the more I feel like I should put Anthony Edwards in, and not go with Jaren. So
so you tricked me into switching to Jaren. Now you're going to take these away out. Flawless victory. Kudos to you, sir.
And I do feel like
I'm going to get flamed by the dinguses, the Minnesota dinguses.
I do feel like Sabonis has an excellent argument.
I can't do it,
and Kings fans would be like, "You've snubbed Sabonis." It's like, I guess so. But
go rewatch Domantas Sabonis versus Steven Adams
go watch Sabonis get 0 rebounds in the 4th quarter, while Steven Adams had 6 offensive rebounds alone in the 4th quarter.
I can't.
Oh man, this was super fun. I know in our show notes, Chuck, I was about to mention it. You said if we had done the best thing, you were going to be Jokic. Because we didn't even talk about him because he was, he's a starter. He's the best. But like, if Jokic keeps having these perfect triple doubles,
I think we'll get to Jokic in our croissant question as well. I think.
Okay, all right. Well, let's just do that. Let's jump ahead before the award segment to a single listener question. The croissant question.
Magnus asks, is it just me, or have we been getting more mid-career breakout / skill developments lately than we used to? Aaron Gordon may have become a two-way player. Tyus Jones is looking to score more. Utah Watanabe was almost out of the league and is an essential cog on the Vaughn Coach of the Year watch Nets. Wiggins became an almost legitimate all-star just last year. Have I forgotten about past late bloomers, or did this not happen as much around the 2010s and earlier? So going back to what you were saying, Keith, I think in most of these, you are just seeing greener pastures. Aaron Gordon's now playing next to one of the most sublime team basketball players in history, and it's rubbing off on him a little bit. Much like when Bill Walton spent his final years with Larry Bird, he suddenly became this electrifying redheaded passing stalwart again. Tyus Jones is in a perfect situation for him to be able to plug and play when they need him to. I think what you're looking at here, and I think this always happens, I don't think it's so much late bloomers. It's just guys finding the right fit, except for Utah Watanabe, who has gone Super Saiyan and is now godlike.
I was going to say something similar, John, where I feel like a lot of those, I honestly think the Tyus Jones thing is not that far removed from Andrew Wiggins finding the perfect basketball home, and from Aaron Gordon, finding the perfect basketball home and the perfect basketball front court tandem with Nikola Jokic. I think Tyus Jones is a very, very good player. If you took him out of maybe this perfect spot, like if the Timberwolves had kept him, would he be averaging 20 points and 7 assists as a starter this season? I doubt it. I don't know. I mean, I don't want to take away the individual work all these guys do and credit it to like a larger thing. But I do think you see it a lot of times in sports where a lot of times, how portable is this guy's talent or how portable is this guy's statistics that he's posting? And, they vary based on where you play. I mean, just Chuck's team, they pride themselves on just developing dudes. Like we could turn a Max Strus into a guy. We could turn a Duncan Robinson into a guy.
What the Heat
develop the dude and then pay the dude way too much money.
Yeah,
the Heat's doing a good job where Max Strus is becoming Duncan Robinson before he gets paid. So it's like really cool of him to do that.
Can we talk about Aaron Gordon for a little bit longer though? Just because it's kind of weird that it's like, all right, guy, you're the greatest dunker who ever lived. Maybe dunk more in games,
right? All it took was
this seems honestly, so elementary.
Aaron Gordon talking about his own dunks might have been the first kudos to me. I changed my number to 50 for my dunk contest score. No, Aaron Gordon. Yeah, well, it's one of those things where we talk about like, if this guy didn't try to be or wasn't asked to be the go-to guy, right? If this guy just let the offense come to him and just knocked out, shot open threes, played hard on defense, cut hard to the basket, and did all the little things. We're like, oh, he'd be great, but it hardly ever happens. Where it's just too hard for people to transition into that. Everyone's like, if Rudy Gay could just do all this stuff, you're like, yeah, I don't know. He was asked to be the guy from day one, and then after 4 years, people are like, hey, could you no longer do that? It's hard to transition, and Aaron Gordon has done it, probably because he's playing beside.
I think
greatest,
all time. I think
greatest player.
I think it's a Jokic effect. It's made Aaron Gordon real because Aaron Gordon's a pretty awesome passer too. And it's like, ooh, I want to get in on this.
Yeah,
like, we're not awesome, but he likes to do flourish passes.
I mean, I think Jeremy Grant is another similar. He might. I don't know if it's a culture thing. I think that's more of a development story where it's like this guy keeps getting better. He keeps getting.
He was good in a sense in Denver. And he was bad in Detroit. Kess is that main guy.
Yeah.
And then back in Portland,
right now,
he's good in a sense, but he's not better than Jaren.
I think this has always happened.
Yeah, I do too.
Like Chauncey Billups, the famous, took him forever to get good.
Yeah.
Not that
Kyle Lowry.
Not that long ago. Yeah, Kyle Lowry and
Mike Conley. I don't think this is
even
anything
like
new.
Daryl Armstrong.
Yeah,
it's like just journeyman guys playing overseas, and all of a sudden they put it together, and then they find the right opportunity.
Brian Cardinal.
I think it shows. How
Brian Scalabrine.
It shows how close all these guys are.
Brian May.
Players who aren't in the league right now. How a lot of them, there's still tons of guys out there who just with the one right opportunity, like they fill in, and you see it constantly where a guy goes down and Yuta Watanabe gets his chance, or like Dwayne Washington on the Suns stepping in with Devin Booker and
Dwayne Washington's usage rate on the Suns.
Well, I mean,
national story.
Suns aren't winning, but there's a lot of guys who could just step up. And then, so
just all those guys on the Suns, and Dwayne Washington steps in and becomes Jordan. Like as far as usage rate, like wow.
So I again, not without doing probably the days and days of research that fully answering Magnus's question requires.
Absolutely not.
I think this must be a fun segment. It sounds like homework. Trying to answer his question with any form of accuracy or confidence.
Shame on you, Magnus.
But anyways, thanks for the question, Magnus. It is something fun to ponder. If you out there have a question you want answered on air or as part of our Millennial Brunch Zoom Hangout, by the way, I believe this Thursday night around 9 p.m. Central, we're going to answer some of your questions in our playback room. This will be a little bit different. It will not be open just to patrons because we're going to do it on playback. We'll probably have our patrons select which game we watch, but this Thursday night, 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. or so, we will do a power hour again. and watch some NBA basketball and also answer your questions. But if you want to get involved with that, as far as us answering your questions, either on the show or in the Slack, anywhere else, you have to be a Patreon supporter. You can also join the Pickle Pick'em contest. You can play in the awesome fantasy leagues like our iShop Negative Fantasy League. Of course, you can't do it this year. That league is insane. There are 32 teams, and basically everyone's trying hard. So thank you for doing that, patrons. But if you want to support the show, get involved with all the bonus stuff, do it at patreon.com/Fastbreak Breakfast. It is now time for the awards segment of the program, the International Stackhouse of Pancakes Award, given each week to the worst performance in a box score. We have a few honorable mentions. Ben Matherin and Malik Beasley went 1 for 9. Bojan Bogdanovic, who everyone wants to trade for. Oh, excuse me. Bogdanovic. That's my mistake. Bogdan Bogdanovic was 2 for 13. James Harden was 4 for 17. We have 3 nominees as they occurred chronologically through the last week. We have Royce O'Neal of the red hot Brooklyn Nets.
I shot legend. In a rare loss
for the Nets. Royce was 0 for 9 with no points. A true 0. 0 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal, no turnovers, 3 personal fouls. Then we had Mikal Bridges in a narrow loss to the Cleveland Cavaliers. Mikal Bridges was 3 for 15. 10 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 steal, 2 blocks, 1 turnover, 1 personal foul. And then Pascal Siakam in an overtime loss to the Bucks. One we talked about earlier, actually. Pascal Siakam was 4 for 18 on his field goal attempts. 11 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 block, 3 turnovers, 5 personal fouls. So we have Royce O'Neal, 0 for 9, no points, 3 assists. Mikal Bridges, 3 for 15, 10 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists. And Pascal Siakam, 11 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists, 5 fouls.
And he was 4 for 18?
4 for 18 for Pascal. I think it's between Pascal and Royce. Volume versus perfection of doing absolutely nothing. Offensively.
Yeah, it's funny because you definitely have this is an aesthetic.
Yeah, Pascal's is 4 for 18 with 5 fouls and 3 turnovers, but 11 points, 8 boards, and then Royce 0 for 9, no points.
Only 3 assists.
I will say
that's pathetic.
3 assists. Here's what I'm going to go. If Royce had done this in 12 minutes of playing time, yeah, I'd go Pascal. Royce did it in 35 minutes of playing time. I am going to vote for Royce O'Neal despite the
35. You know what?
Attempts.
We need to start putting in minutes more often.
Well, I mean, if it's a factor, it is in the box score. We're allowed to use it. So
that's an elite iShop.
Yeah,
I'm going Royce too.
Okay.
Pascal almost fouled out, so at least he tried.
Yeah. Although for me, when the fouls pass 0 and they get closer to 6, it then becomes a positive for me. But okay. everyone weigh however you want it. That's fine, Chuck. Congratulations, John. Do you want to make it unanimous, or do you want to give a
I'm
Pascal?
fine with that.
All right, a unanimous for Royce O'Neal. Good job. 35 minutes. No field goals made, 0 points scored. Congratulations, winning this week's award. Par fadeaway, gentlemen. What things are we looking forward to? Or if you have something if you have a worse thing you want to throw out, anything. It's been a weirder show, a little bit different. So whatever you want to say, let's just keep it under 10 minutes. Great. What things are you looking forward to in the coming week?
So I'm going to get it started a little bit early. We will have a, to my mind, huge watch party coming up.
Oh, yeah. We do have a huge watch party.
January 20th.
Yeah.
I've forgotten who the Grizzlies are playing.
Lakers, Grizzlies, 9 p.m. Central Start Time at Noble's Beer Hall in Nashville, Tennessee.
We have people from far-flung locales attending. I'm going to try to bring the noise this time. Yeah, I can't wait.
You mean like the police? Let's bring the noise. Are you bringing the?
I'm just gonna let it hang out there.
I'm
gonna let you anguish over it.
That's great. No, there are people coming. People have apparently heard about the Grizzlies National Watch Parties, and we have Patreon supporters coming. We have Grizzlies fans leaving Memphis to come here.
Love it.
So, I mean, is it an unofficial Fastbreak Breakfast party? Yes, it is. Come if you're anywhere near Friday, January 20th. We'll be giving away lots of Grizzlies prizes. Got some cool trucker hats. We'll give them those away. We got some bobbleheads. We have a lot of we have these nice, I think they're like 11 by 17 Dylan Brooks printouts. Oh man, valuable, invaluable, priceless is the word I'm looking for. You should come get some.
I will say I've been going to games a lot, and I've never seen a people like maul each other for like a giveaway like those Dylan Brooks sunglasses.
Oh,
I got two, and I gave mine to like near sobbing children who didn't get theirs.
We might give away some Fastbreak Breakfast t-shirts. I mean, well, it's gonna be nuts. So come to Noble's Beer Hall on Friday, January 20th. Chuck, what do you
got? The Heat play the Thunder on TNT tonight. There's going to be no Hero, maybe no Bam, no Kyle Lowry. It's just going to be Jimmy Butler and a bunch of scrubs. That's my favorite Heat lineup. It's just Jimmy and nobodies, and they're playing on national.
That's the team he beat the table of starters.
Yeah, that's who he beats the rest of the starters with.
He will take your third stringers and he will whoop you. I'm
personally.
And I'm confused as to who in the NBA league office thought the Heat and Oklahoma City Thunder would be a good game on national television. But I'm telling you, if you should watch it. It's going to be dope. The 10th when this comes out.
I got a couple things I'm looking forward to. One, I want to acknowledge some referee brethren who've been doing some stuff. I don't know if they're going to keep it up.
Josh Dobbs forward pass.
No, there've been some weird calls this year. Maybe it feels like more than other years. Luka got maybe the quickest technical foul I've ever seen, but I loved it because he clearly committed a foul and then did a little baby tantrum where he started like stamping his feet and shaking his hands like he's
Luka does a lot of 2.5-year-olds.
He did a toddler tantrum, and I don't remember who the referee was, but the referee said, I see the foul. That's an obvious foul. And then you acted like a baby, and he called a tech. It was all like a span of 1 second. Yeah. But I was like, hey, that's for me, that's a good tech. You committed the foul. It was obvious. And then you threw a tantrum. Yeah. Hit him up with that. But I want to see if the officials stick with it. I'm also looking forward to,
you don't, because then Jaren will be thrown out of every game.
It's true. Jaren throws some tantrums. Just don't throw the tantrum.
They are strategic tantrums, though. They're early in the game. They have a purpose.
Shout out Jaren fouling out of his first game of the year.
Wow.
You ruined that for me, by the way. I didn't even respond to your text back. I was so mad at your correct logic.
What? Oh, you were like,
they're letting Jaren play.
They let Taylor let Jaren play through it. I'm like, nah, man. They pulled him out in foul trouble. They had 9 minutes left, put him back in. He still fouled out. I'm also looking forward to apparently the Bojan Bogdanovic sweepstakes. Everyone's trying to get Bojan, which still confuses me because they got him for matching salary in the summer. Did no one know they wanted a Bojan on their team over the summer? Did no one know they were going to be good? Like, why didn't? I mean, was it literally? And I don't want to walk down this road too far.
If a Bojan's worth that much, how much does a Danny Green sound to everybody? Come on now.
Who is going to be more ready to play basketball in March? Danny Green or Jay Crowder? Which player will be in better NBA shape in March? If
the Grizzlies trade Danny Green for Jay Crowder, what has happened?
It'll be Danny Green. No, I'm confused why Bojan. I was confused at the time how it was just a matching salary of Kelly Olynyk to get Bojan, and now everyone's like, "Oh yeah, we got to get that guy." It's like, where were you? Was your phone broken? Or I don't know. Maybe it was that no one else had white matching salary. And the Jazz said, we're going to need white matching salary.
We need a white guy.
We got Markkanen in the door. We got a Kessler in the door. We got to get, we got Olynyk. Yeah, we could send out Bojan for a matching white salary. Anyways,
things I thought recently while watching basketball. You guys let me know if I'm canceled or if I need to rethink or I need to do some kind of racial sensitivity training.
You do.
Watch Kelly Olynyk play some basketball. Thought to myself, that dude hustles. He plays the right way.
No, that's overt racism.
And then he blew his knee out. Blew his knee out doing nothing.
He hurt his ankle from basketball karma. He took a dive on the previous play, then on the next play, he twisted his ankle. Don't miss the newest Grind City Media podcast. This is for you, John. Cage Side with John Morgan. It's a weekly video podcast that breaks down and previews everything in the world of mixed martial arts, including some hard-hitting interviews with some of the biggest stars in the sport. New episodes come out every Monday, so visit grindcitymedia.com or Grind City Media on YouTube to watch.
I wonder if there'll be any Dana White discussion on there.
You want to support our show, do that at patreon.com/Fastbreak Breakfast. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on Twitter at Fastbreak Break. Follow Chuck the Mighty Chuck. Follow John, Master John Burr. Don't miss the playback on Thursday night. Don't miss the watch party on Friday, January 20th. You guys are the best. Thanks for listening. And remember, breakfast is the most important thing.